Welcome to a Community Partners interview, where we explore the organizations, opportunities, and resources that look to make change in our daily lives. I'm your host, Lilly Cereghini, and you're listening to Voices for Ability Radio, all abilities, all the time. Today, I'm joined by Rabia Khedr, National Director for Disability Without Poverty. Disability Without Poverty, or DWP, was established when activists across the country united to combat poverty created for people with disabilities. Their work focuses on the Canada Disability Benefit, or CDB, introduced in the 2020 throne speech. Thanks to numerous petitions, open letters, opinion pieces, gatherings, partnerships, and nonpartisan efforts by DWP, the Canada Disability Benefit received unanimous royal assent in June of 2023. Now, their work is to ensure that the Canada Disability Benefit becomes a benefit that truly helps people with disabilities rise out of poverty. Thanks for joining me today, Rabia.
Thanks for having me.
Rabia, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what inspired you to work at Disability Without Poverty?
Well, I've been working in the disability rights space for most of my adult career. I didn't intentionally plan this journey. I am a person with a disability. I'm blind. I've had an eye condition from birth. I also had siblings with disabilities, including the youngest of the four of us, my sister with the same vision loss as myself, but two brothers in between with developmental disabilities or intellectual disabilities and varying needs of complexity and care. So I always said, I have enough disability personally. I don't want to make a profession out of it, but somebody out there had a path planned for me, and I found my purpose in this space for now going on to at least 3 decades.
No, I love that, actually. I actually come from a very similar headspace, and I've read about your organization even when taking classes myself at university. It sounds really rewarding.
Definitely. I was used to voicing the needs for myself because my parents didn't necessarily know the system. As an immigrant child, this is a typical experience when you grow up here and figure out how to navigate the system and the language and everything better than the adults around you. And I learned to be that advocate for my siblings as well. So it was just a natural part of my life. And then somehow I stumbled upon working in this space as a service provider, as part of a grassroots advocacy movement around intersectionality, and then ultimately, going into independent consulting, creating my own organizations that I established and continue to run, and then ultimately during the pandemic, getting involved with Disability Without Poverty and its establishment and growth and following through on the Canada Disability Benefit journey.
Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Canada Disability Benefit and how someone can try to get the CDB?
Well, it's a statutory benefit, which means anybody can apply for it and can qualify and can receive it. The qualifications are, never always barrier free. So you have to have the disability tax credit and you have to have filed your most recent income tax. If you meet the income test and you have the disability tax credit, then you will get the supplemental benefit. It's a top up amount to a maximum of $200 a month. It was a promise that government made as a way toward ending disability poverty, but we're only inching toward that. It's not really making a dent in the poverty experiences of people. It's maybe helping them, catch up on their past bills, maybe pay their rent, maybe be able to buy some food. But it's really not helping them thrive.
Oh, I know. It's not subject to the same clawbacks as the provincial programs like ODSP. But at the same time, costs and inflation keep going up and up and up and up and up. And we need more than what we are getting from the Ontario government. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's not being clawed back in Ontario, it's not being clawed back in any other province but Alberta, where it's being clawed back dollar per dollar by that province.
I did not know that. Oh my goodness. That's brutal.
It really is.
So, okay, I saw on your website that you have something called Take Action. Can you tell us a little bit more about what Take Action is?
Well, now that the benefit is there, we need to continue the journey of better the benefit. So when we started this, we said, "Where's the bill? Where's the legislation? Let's get the bill tabled." Then we said, "Budget the benefit." Right? Once it was actually announced and the legislation passed, we needed the money behind it. And then we moved into better the benefit, because as it is, it's not good enough. It's not accessible. It's not affordable. It's not necessarily available to the people who need it most. So, in that quest of better the benefit, we have created our community advocates, which is a toolkit to assist people. We are running town halls monthly and some training workshops to really help people at the grassroots level in their local constituency, ward, riding, to gain skills to come together as people with disabilities with lived experience, caregivers, allies, and influencers, and hold local conversations with media and with elected officials to influence the change we need to better the benefit. So we need to cut red tape. So right now, if you in Ontario get ODSP, you've already filled out medical forms, you've already signed off on paperwork. The system recognizes you as certified disabled. For we really need a certificate for it. Um,
Uh-huh.
the federal government wants you to do all of that all over again in order to qualify for this benefit. So, and any other federal benefit tied to your income in any way, shape, or form, the gateway to it is the disability tax credit. So again, you have to go to a doctor, you have to have forms filled out, you have to file those forms, and then they can accept or deny. We're saying if people have already done that provincially, don't make them do it again. We have a shortage of doctors in this country. Um, Remove these barriers to accessing the benefit. So now, really, we're talking about remove the barriers to the benefit, cut red tape, automatically enroll people who are already receiving provincial disability support because they've already proven their disability to the system. Don't make them do it again. Let's be efficient, cost efficient.
Honest to Gods, it's costing time for us as well. And if they wanted to, they could just push a button and say, there you are.
Exactly. It's the age of
But
technology.
they
Everything can
already
be
have all of our
validated.
information.
two the two systems need to talk together, click click, and take care of it, rather than people having to go to doctors, and doctors charge fees to do these forms, and we're trying to alleviate poverty, and we're forcing people to go deeper into poverty in order to access a program that's supposed to alleviate their poverty experience.
Yeah, seems like a dog chasing its own tail kind of event.
Yep.
That and the medicalization of disability itself is kind of BS.
Well,
Like,
like I keep trying to say to people, look, we invest so much in trying to keep people out because we're so concerned about fraud. Like, who actually wants to fake a disability? If they
no,
really want
exactly.
to fake a disability, guess what? They probably have an undiagnosed underlying disability.
Yeah, I
Because
mean, you're not wrong.
able or disabled, we want to be productive, we want to thrive, we want to contribute, we want to earn and live a good life. We all do, whether we have a disability or not. And when somebody wants to take advantage of a program to assist people with disabilities who cannot work, or who cannot work enough to survive, there's an underlying issue that's unrecognized, and the number of people who are doing that is so small that we don't have to spend millions to keep them out.
Exactly. I mean, I would actually argue that we are more productive than non-disabled because we have to be more malleable.
Of course,
Yep.
of course, my line that I throw around is, "I don't waste time seeing, I spend time doing," and honest to God, that's literal.
Yes, absolutely. I'm with you. I'm also visually impaired. All right. What is the publications tab on your website about?
So we've also done research. We've started to gather data from lived experience. So the government, in its Disability Inclusion Action Plan, page 32, said, "Oh, well, there were all these communities that we just can't reach. They're hard to reach." And at DWP, we said, okay, guess what? We are grassroots from coast to coast to coast, from sea to sea to sea. We can reach those communities. So we, during the regulatory process, ran our own external consultation. We had an online questionnaire. We had peer to peer interview conversations. We reached over 5,000 people that responded to our questions, and we compiled that data into our Shape the CDB research and our Disability with Possibility report. We also began at the end of 2023 to introduce an annual disability poverty report card, which we will be having produced again and uh, report to the public on. We will present the report card on December 3rd, the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, and this will be our third report card. So first, it was our report card once the legislation passed, but there was no benefit. Last year, we published it when there was the budgeted amount, and now we're publishing when it's actually going out to people.
It's still not good. I mean, no es bueno. In terms of report card, it's like, you got a C minus here, government.
Yeah, I don't know. You'll have to wait and see on December 3rd.
Maybe, exactly. Are there any restrictions to the services at Disability Without Poverty, such as age, caregivers, or family members only, things of that nature?
We don't provide services as such. We simply mobilize people and anybody and everybody. We welcome everyone to come together on common principles, sharing a cause, uh, voicing or presenting our shared viewpoints to make good social policy in this country. So, truly, nothing about us without us. We center lived experience. So, first, it's people with disabilities. Then we bring along our friends and families to support us because we know what's best for us.
Yes, correct. I agree with you 100% on that. I mean, I want to join Disability Without Poverty, by the way, when I get out of university, because I've already heard about you guys and researched about you guys, and I'm in.
All right. Excellent.
Without using any names, though, can you share a success story with me? What supports were put in place when someone asked for your help?
Not necessarily a success story, but what we have been able to do is take people's voices further, uh, through publishing op-eds in newspapers, through featuring them in a podcast. Giving people platform to share their struggles is what we've been able to do.
Yeah, exactly. Because nothing about us without us, and
Absolutely.
the only way we're going to be listened to is if we get louder. Because we're already 27-ish% of Canada's population. That's a voting block. That's a massive voting block.
Yep, and that's what we're trying to help people realize at a grassroots level, right? That we do have the power and we need to speak to politicians in their constituencies so they recognize the power of our vote. And the only way we're going to make good social policy in this country is by, voicing our needs right at the grassroots level and sharing our stories and centering our lived experience so that it gets heard loud and clear.
Exactly, because they're not going to care unless we yell at them about it, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I know you mentioned December, but are there any events coming up for Disability Without Poverty?
Well, December 3rd is our big event. We are holding our first uh, symposium online featuring academic and non academic researchers with and without lived experience who have made submissions to us. And this is to really build up our research collective. That we want anybody and everybody that's doing work out there to come together to make sure that we're sharing, we're learning, and we're advancing knowledge and providing the evidence the system needs to better the benefit.
What kind of research are you looking for? Because I am chomping at the bit for something like that.
Well, as we all understand, we have an affordability crisis in this country. So the cost of accessible and affordable housing impacts the experience of poverty. The cost of food, access to healthcare and programs, transportation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are all kinds of contributing factors or social determinants of poverty and disability. So we're really trying to get people to bring forward anything and everything that ties into disability poverty.
Hey, I like that. I like that. I mean, if you want people to talk about lived experience, here we are. My goodness.
Yep,
Oh, I gotta get more people on board for you because this is both very easy and very hard because we have the numbers. Now we just need to do the thing.
exactly.
So, if someone wanted to become a member or volunteer with DWP, what's the process for joining as a member or as a volunteer?
Well, we don't necessarily have membership as such. Volunteers, absolutely. But volunteer means when we have an event on the ground, come join us, join our online community through our town halls. You have certain skills to offer. You want to write a blog, you want to make video content, whatever you want to create. Tell us your ideas, share it with us, and let's see what's possible.
Love that. Love that. Love that because that's also my career path. So, this is a very loaded question. What is the one thing that you see happening over and over and over again to individuals with disabilities that shouldn't be, and how do we stop it?
Ooh, okay.
Right?
Um,
Love this question.
Well, I think in the disability poverty journey, I think what people need to kind of get over is the fact that employment is not the answer. Like pumping into employment programs is not the answer to get disabled people employed. We need to think out of the box. We need to do things differently. Every person wants to contribute. Every person wants to, you know, do something for their themselves, for their family, for their community, in whatever way, shape, or form they can, given their disability and the barriers they experience. Just because we give people the financial support, it doesn't mean that we're discouraging them from wanting to contribute, wanting to work. Everybody wants to work, everybody wants to contribute. We need to open other avenues for them to do that. We need to think out of the box. Um, so people have to stop using that excuse of, oh, we don't want to, discourage them from working by giving them more money. That's not the case.
No,
We
it's
need
quite
to
the other way around, actually.
exactly.
Yeah.
People need the money to get out of the door. They need the money to get rid of the barriers they experience so that they can, in fact, go find a job, so that they can, in fact, maintain a job.
Mhm. Mhm. Are
Or maybe start up their own business because that's where they can accommodate themselves best. So
right.
we have a lot of work to do still to shift attitudes, and not just general attitudes, but attitudes around disability poverty.
Correct. Our provincial governments are cutting off their nose to spite their face because with the clawbacks that, for example, ODSP gets, for every dollar you make in your employed job where you get paid, they take 50 cents off of your ODSP. So you're actually being penalized for getting a job. You're not being rewarded.
Well, you know what? I have to give credit where credit is due. At least the provincial government increased the earnings exemption from $200 to $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's still not much. You can't pay
it
rent on that.
well, it's a step in the right direction, but the boo-boo they made was in terms of a household, they did that for the disabled person, but if they have a family member that is able to work, they can only earn up to $200. So it's really ridiculous.
I know. That and the fact that they also expect us to marry non-disabled, it's quite the other way around, I've noticed, that we tend to marry within our own circles because we understand each other better.
Yeah, that tends to happen as well, and then people have to give up their benefits and,
Mhm.
like government through its programs is encroaching on people's personal decisions.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, in terms of governmental policy, sometimes it's like, just give me the thing and get out of my way.
Yeah, yeah. Let me do what's necessary to survive.
Yes. Now, what is the one thing that everyone needs to know about DWP?
Well, DWP is a grassroots movement, truly embodying nothing about us without us. Our board of directors are people with disabilities with lived experience. Our staff team has some personal connection to lived experience one way or another. We are not government funded. That's a biggie. We are actually funded by public and private foundations. And we're trying our best to keep it that way because then we don't have any conflict when we're advocating with government. We maintain that authenticity and neutrality.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because again, if their government gets their sticky little fingerprints in on this, it's going to be top down, logistical, money here, money
Well, it just
there.
makes it hard, right? Like you can't
Exactly.
bite the hand that feeds you.
Well, we feed ourselves, don't we?
We do, we do.
Absolutely. So, if people are looking for more information about DWP, how do they find you?
They can visit our website, disabilitywithoutpoverty.ca. We are on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook, so they can find us in those spaces. We find a
Perfect. Good. Very good. You are findable, absolutely. And yeah, again, I'm chomping at the bit to join up with this once I have a more clear schedule and direction in life. So that's going to be very, very fun.
awesome. Can't wait.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Looking forward to this.
Me too. You've been listening to Community Partners. I'm your host, Lilly Cereghini. And remember, folks, stick together because we are all in this together.